31, got another year, but he should go be the first pick of the draft.
We'll take questions on Zoom.
Nick Suss.
You talked about the struggles up front. Just what did you see from your offensive line that allowed them to put so much pressure on Matt and kind of took away the run game too?
They played a lot of odd tight with 4 eyes, and that's a hard up front, when you do that. And so, I'd tell it how it is, good and bad. We got dominated up front, so that ain't hard to see. I'm sure you saw that watching. Matt didn't have very much time. We had negative runs with guys in the backfield. So again, that's not us doing a very good job. And it's also, credit to a really good defense. And I'd buy 31 and then 10 made plays. I thought about it towards the end of the game. Coach Saban said a year ago, he felt like afterwards, it was like every call was like the right call that we had, and everything went our way. And I felt like that today for them, defensively, like, we go speed option on 4th down, and, number 10 makes a great play and catches Ely. Ely tries to cut back for some reason. So credit them for showing up, making a lot of plays.
Joey Blackwell.
Hey, Coach. Brian Robinson Jr. was able to rush for over 170 yards, and Alabama running backs in general over 200 yards. What made them so effective against you guys, particularly defensive line today?
Well, Brian's a good player. I remember him playing right here in high school in Tuscaloosa when I was there, and they ran him a lot to their left side. I guess left tackle might be the first pick of the draft since 31 can't come out because he's huge. And they ran behind him a lot. The guy's a dominant player, and Brian did a really good job, and was still in there at the end. So I actually finally stopped him there in the 4th quarter twice.
Parrish.
Lane, how far away do you think you are from your offensive and defensive lines being able to catch up and be more competitive in this kind of game?
Well, I think that's always an issue with Alabama. They sign the best players everywhere in the country, but they always sign the best in the front. And so, you're going to have to do unique things, no different than, when Ole Miss did beat Alabama. They had MDG and moved the front and, made a lot of plays. So it's always going to be a little uphill battle that way. That's just how it is. And, you got to scheme around it.
We'll go to Blake.
Yeah. Lane, those 2 4th downs inside your own territory, do you think you would have gone for those against any opponent, or do you think playing Alabama influenced that decision?
No, that's actually opposite. If anything, 100% you go for it. And if, that's the other way. A lot of people don't do it because it's like scared money. When blackjack table, you got $5, it's easy, put a couple of thousand out there. Now you get scared. And so I said we weren't going to do that. We were going to follow the analytics, follow the book, and not get scared because we're in Alabama and, not have confidence in our players and punt. Because, again, you can punt and then go score. They scored every possession but one in the first half. So, I know it looks bad when it doesn't work, but, again, you can punt it away. It just takes longer for them to score.
Back to Nick.
Lane, are there adjustments that can be made to be able to stop the run and still keep 5 or 6 in the box like you guys have this season?
Yeah, it's going to probably sound crazy, but you were there a year ago. They moved the ball a lot better a year ago, a lot faster than this year. It just took them longer this year. So we actually, made them work, to get the rushing yards, even though it ended up being a lot. But, Brian's 4.8 a carry, that could have easily been a lot higher. So I don't think, it's a game where you say all of a sudden, okay, hey, we need to change what we're doing on defense. That's not really the storyline of the game. The storyline of the game is that they did a great job on defense with great players and made great adjustment with the coaches. And, we didn't.
John,
Right here, but Lane, you kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but what were your takeaways of Matt's performance today overall?
I think it's going to sound strange. I think Matt played all right. It's not like he threw no interceptions. Whatever he was, completion 22 of 30. We didn't do a whole lot around him, and we didn't protect him. That's hard when you don't have a long time to throw, and actually, moved around, got out of trouble, and made some plays, or it would have been worse. So I thought, Matt still played well.
Quick follow-up to that. I mean, you've been coaching for a long time after kind of a loss like this, and you guys are rolling. What's kind of the key to kind of boost morale in the locker room with players afterwards after a game like this?
Make sure we understand it's one game, and there was a lot of hype and build up for the game, and one game does not define your season. It doesn't define you, it molds you. So you can go one way or the other. And I think in a way, as much as it hurts during it, it's kind of sometimes better when a game's like this versus last year where you're sitting saying, oh, one play, and then you got a hangover, and go play like we did against Arkansas. So hopefully this refocuses us and shows us, how we got to do everything right.
we'll go to Michael.
Yeah, you guys had 78 rushing yards. Is that more of a factor of the way the game, the pace of the game, the way the score was, or was that what Alabama was doing defensively?
Well, that's a combination, but, especially as you saw the game in the first half, not a lot of holes to run. So had to try to be creative and come up with different things to get some more space and stuff. But, if you don't get the first downs going and get them tired, I've always said, you've seen the Alabama defense for a long time. They can be a great defense and shut anybody down if you don't get them tired. And we didn't do that today. I thought we were starting that way with the first drive. And then, we sputtered after that.
Back to Nick.
Do you have an update or a diagnosis on Mingo?
I don't. That was a late in the week thing. Feel down for the kid. He was in tears, wanted to play in this game, and has worked as hard as anybody. Felt bad for Matt losing him. Finding out Thursday that he wasn't going to play, so we'll see.
Okay, we'll take some questions in the room.
Coach, how much was playing at Bryant-Denny at full capacity, kind of your first true road game of the season, a factor in this game?
I'm sure it was. Once you put the headset on, we don't hear that as coaches. But, that's why they call home field advantage and 100,000 people, So I'm sure it affected the players somewhat. I didn't feel like we had, a lot of crowd noise issues where you saw a lot of false starts going on. And but I'm sure it was an impact.
All right, we'll take one more. Lane, obviously, Jonathan not being in there is huge for you guys. The second leading receiver on your team in multiple categories. Did not having him, how much did that kind of impact your game plan and impact, the outcome?
Well, when you lose a significant player late in the week, it's difficult because your game plan's already in. When we found out he wasn't going to play, so is what it is. I kind of felt bad for Matt when it happened that he wasn't coming in with full strength weapons to go into this matchup. And so, but we got to get better, and whoever plays.
All right, thanks, Coach. Love players and next.
All right, guys, thanks.